Don't believe this productivity myth. You've been told to do more, hustle harder, and pack your day with endless tasks. But what if the real key to clarity, focus, and success isn't about doing more, but doing less? In a world that never stops moving, finding stillness might seem impossible, and yet it could be the most powerful thing you do. In this video, we'll uncover the truth behind the myth of constant productivity. You'll learn how embracing stillness can help you find clarity amidst the chaos, why questioning your beliefs is the key to clearer thinking, and how focusing on what's within your control can transform the way you approach every aspect of life. Whether you feel overwhelmed, stuck, or just tired of the noise, these Stoic principles will guide you to a path of simplicity, growth, and insight. Ready to see the world differently? Let's dive in. Number 1. Embrace stillness. Find clarity amidst the chaos. Picture this. It's a sunny morning, the warmth of the sunlight gently touching your skin, and there's a moment of quiet before the day begins. Everything feels calm, and for just a brief second, you're fully present. Your mind isn't racing. There's no urgency, no noise, just peace. These are the fleeting moments we all long for, the ones where we feel connected to ourselves and the world around us. Yet, how often do we get swept up in the chaos before we even realize it? Notifications buzzing, tasks piling up, and the next thing you know, the clarity you had vanishes, replaced by a whirlwind of distractions. But what if you could hold on to that stillness? What if you could access that sense of calm and clarity, no matter how hectic your day became? In today's fast-paced world, the ability to pause, breathe, and find stillness is like a superpower. The Stoics understood this centuries ago, and their teachings are just as relevant today. Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor with the weight of an entire empire on his shoulders, found clarity in stillness. He famously said, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." In the midst of his responsibilities, he realized that true peace wasn't something you sought outside of yourself. It was something you could cultivate within. Finding stillness doesn't mean abandoning your life or escaping to a cabin in the woods, although the idea sounds tempting, doesn't it? It's about making a choice, setting aside moments in your day to just be, to stop reacting and start observing. We've all had moments where the world feels overwhelming and we lose ourselves in the noise. The emails, the texts, the endless scrolling. But when we create those moments of stillness, when we breathe deeply and allow ourselves to reconnect with our thoughts, we regain control. Think back to a time when you were young. Maybe it was before all the distractions of modern life, a time when you could simply sit outside, listen to the wind, or feel the rhythm of your own breathing. That natural stillness was always there, wasn't it? It wasn't something you had to force. It just happened. Remember how everything seemed so simple, so clear. It wasn't about rushing from one thing to the next. It was about being in the moment, truly present. We've lost that, haven't we? But maybe it's not gone forever. Maybe, by embracing stillness again, we can bring that simplicity back. Now imagine this. What if, in the middle of a busy workday or a stressful situation, you could press pause? What if, instead of reacting in frustration, you could close your eyes, breathe, and find that same sense of peace and clarity you had when you were younger? Wouldn't that change how you approached everything? Instead of getting swept away by the chaos, you'd be grounded. You'd think more clearly, respond more thoughtfully, and you'd feel in control, not just of your day, but of your mind. So what does it take to embrace stillness? Can we, in our busy lives, carve out these moments for ourselves? Could it be that the key to clarity has been with us all along, waiting in the silence? Number 2, challenge your beliefs. Question assumptions for clearer thinking. We all carry around a set of beliefs, ideas about how the world works, who we are, what's right and wrong, and these beliefs shape every decision we make, every thought that crosses our mind. At first glance, it feels comforting, right? These beliefs are like a roadmap, guiding us through life. But what if those beliefs, the very ones we cling to so tightly, are actually holding us back? What if, instead of leading us to truth, they're clouding our judgment? Imagine a time in your life when you were so sure of something, only to realize later that you were wrong. Maybe it was a belief about someone else, or maybe it was something about yourself. When the truth finally hit, it might have felt like the ground shifted beneath you. But there's power in that moment, isn't there? In that realization, you suddenly see things more clearly. The world makes a little more sense. But how many times have you missed those opportunities because you never questioned the beliefs in the first place? Seneca, another Stoic philosopher, once said, "We are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more from imagination than from reality." Think about that for a second. How many times have your fears, assumptions, or past experiences shaped how you view the world, even when they had no basis in reality? How often have you let those invisible chains hold you back from seeing things clearly, from making decisions that could truly move you forward? Now, take a moment and think back to your younger self, maybe in your teens or early adulthood. Do you remember how certain you were about everything? How you had this unwavering belief in what you thought was right? But as time went on, you learned. You experienced new things, met new people, and suddenly, some of those beliefs didn't hold up anymore. You grew. But that growth only happened because you were willing to question what you thought you knew. So, here's the question. What beliefs are you holding on to now, as an adult, that might not serve you anymore? Could it be that the assumptions you've built your life around are keeping you from seeing things clearly? What if, by questioning them, you could free yourself from outdated ideas and open your mind to new possibilities? This is where curiosity comes in. The Stoics weren't afraid of change. They weren't afraid of letting go of ideas that no longer served them. They knew that true wisdom comes from challenging your assumptions, not blindly accepting them. So what if you started looking at your own beliefs with fresh eyes? What might you discover about yourself, about the world around you? Could it be that the key to thinking clearly is simply being willing to ask the right questions? Number 3, focus on control. Direct your energy where it truly matters. Have you ever had one of those days where everything feels out of control? You know, the kind of day where no matter what you do, it seems like the universe is conspiring against you. The car won't start, your boss is breathing down your neck, and by the time you get home, you're utterly drained. We've all been there. It feels like the world is spinning too fast, and you're just along for the ride. But what if, in the midst of all that chaos, you could find a way to regain control? Epictetus, one of the great Stoic teachers, had a profound insight on this. We cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them. It's simple, yet so powerful. The world will always throw curveballs your way. There will always be things outside of your control. But here's the thing, you don't have to control everything. You only need to control one thing, yourself. Your actions, your reactions, your attitude. That's where your true power lies. Think about it. How often do we waste our energy trying to control things that are beyond our reach? We stress over other people's opinions, we obsess over outcomes, we try to manage every little detail of our lives. But in the end, none of that truly matters, does it? What matters is how we choose to respond to the things we can't control. And that choice, that moment of decision, is where clarity and peace can be found. Take a moment to reflect on your past. Can you recall a time when you were overwhelmed, desperately trying to control something outside of your power? Maybe it was a relationship or a job, or even a moment when things just didn't go as planned. But now, looking back, you can see it clearly, can't you? You can see that all that energy you spent trying to control the uncontrollable could have been better spent focusing on what you could change, your mindset, your approach, your actions. Isn't that the lesson we all learn as we get older? So, here's the challenge. What are you focusing on right now that's out of your control? What could you let go of so that you can direct your energy towards something that truly matters? When you start to focus on what's within your control, something incredible happens. You start to feel more at peace, more grounded. Instead of being tossed around by life, you become an active participant in shaping your own path. And that, my friends, is where clarity comes from. Wouldn't it be fascinating to explore how much energy we could reclaim if we stopped trying to control the uncontrollable? What would your life look like if you focused solely on what you could change? These are the questions that could lead to a breakthrough in how you think, how you live, and how you approach the challenges ahead. Number 4. Simplify your life. Cut through the noise to gain focus. Take a moment to imagine a life without the constant noise. No buzzing phones, no cluttered desks, no never-ending to-do lists. Just simplicity. A life where your attention isn't divided 100 different ways, but instead is focused on what truly matters. There's a certain joy in simplicity, a lightness that comes with having fewer distractions. Think of the last time you cleared out a space, maybe your closet or your kitchen, and how liberating it felt. Suddenly you could breathe a little easier. You had room to move, to think. That's the kind of simplicity we all crave, not just in our surroundings, but in our minds and our lives. But life today feels anything but simple, doesn't it? We're bombarded with information, with demands, with countless choices. From the moment we wake up, we're pulled in a dozen different directions. And before we know it, the day is over, and we feel like we haven't made any real progress. The noise consumes us. It's exhausting. But what if, instead of trying to keep up with everything, you chose to cut through the noise? What if you made the decision to simplify, to focus only on the essentials? The Stoics believed in this principle deeply. They understood that to live a meaningful life, you had to strip away the unnecessary. As Epictetus put it, wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. It's not about accumulating more, it's about needing less. Simplifying isn't about sacrificing the things you love, it's about letting go of the things that are weighing you down. Imagine how much clearer your mind would be if you weren't constantly trying to juggle 1,000 different tasks, commitments, and distractions. Now think back to when you were younger. Life was simpler then, wasn't it? Your days weren't packed with endless responsibilities. You had time to explore, to wonder, to focus on the things that truly brought you joy. There was a purity in those moments, a clarity that we often lose as we grow older and life becomes more complicated. But what if that simplicity wasn't something reserved for childhood? What if, by consciously choosing to simplify, you could bring that same sense of focus and clarity back into your life? Imagine a day where you focus only on the things that truly matter, your relationships, your health, your personal growth, the things that nourish you, that bring you joy. What would that day feel like? Wouldn't it be lighter, more fulfilling? When we cut through the noise, we make space for the things that really count. And in that space, we find clarity, peace, and purpose. So, what could you simplify in your life right now? What noise could you cut through to gain that focus you've been searching for? Number 5, adopt a growth mindset. See challenges as opportunities for growth. Let's talk about challenges. They come in all shapes and sizes, don't they? Some are small, like a difficult conversation or a missed deadline. Others are much bigger, losses, failures, setbacks that knock us off course. It's easy to get discouraged when life throws challenges our way, to feel like the universe is working against us. But what if we could flip the script? What if, instead of seeing challenges as obstacles, we saw them as opportunities? There's something empowering about this shift in perspective. When you adopt a growth mindset, you stop fearing failure and start embracing it as a stepping stone. The Stoics were masters of this mindset. They believed that every challenge, every hardship was an opportunity to grow stronger, wiser, more resilient. Marcus Aurelius said it best. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. The very thing you think is blocking your path is actually showing you the way forward. Think about a time when you faced a significant challenge. Maybe it was something that felt insurmountable at the time, a breakup, a job loss, a failure that shook your confidence. But now, looking back, you realize that it wasn't the end. In fact, it was just the beginning. That challenge pushed you to grow, to adapt, to become a better version of yourself. You wouldn't be who you are today without it. Isn't it fascinating how the toughest moments often lead to the greatest growth? As children, we naturally embraced challenges. We fell down, we got back up, and we tried again. Whether it was learning to ride a bike or mastering a new skill, we didn't fear failure. We saw it as part of the process. But somewhere along the way, as we grew older, many of us started avoiding challenges. We became afraid of making mistakes, of looking foolish, of failing. But what if we could return to that childlike mindset, where every challenge was an adventure, a chance to learn something new? Imagine approaching your next challenge with that mindset. Instead of feeling defeated or overwhelmed, you feel curious. You ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I grow? Suddenly, the challenge isn't something to dread. It's an opportunity, a door to a new experience, a new skill, a new level of understanding. When we adopt a growth mindset, we unlock our potential. And the more we embrace challenges, the more we grow. So, what challenge are you facing right now that could be your next opportunity for growth? How might your life change if you saw every obstacle as a stepping stone to something greater? Number 6. Master the art of listening. Unlock new perspectives and insights. Think about the last time you truly felt heard, not just listened to, but deeply understood. It's a rare and powerful experience, isn't it? There's something incredibly validating about having someone listen to you with full attention, without interrupting, without judgment. But here's the thing, how often do we offer that same gift to others? In a world that's constantly rushing, constantly filled with noise, the art of listening seems to be slipping away. We're so focused on what we want to say, what we want to achieve, that we forget to listen. But here's a secret. The Stoics understood well. True wisdom doesn't come from speaking, it comes from listening. Listening not just to others, but to ourselves, to the world around us. Zeno, the founder of Stoicism, taught that we have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason, so we can listen twice as much as we speak. When we truly listen, we open ourselves up to new perspectives, new insights, new ways of seeing the world. Think back to a conversation you had where you weren't really listening. Maybe you were thinking about your response, or you were distracted by something else. How much did you miss in that moment? How many times have we lost the chance to connect, to understand, simply because we weren't fully present? But now imagine a different scenario. Think of a time when you were fully engaged, when you listened deeply to someone else. How did that change the conversation? How did it change your relationship with that person? There's a certain nostalgia in remembering those moments of deep connection, isn't there? Maybe it was a late-night conversation with a close friend, or a quiet moment with a loved one where words weren't even necessary. In those moments, listening wasn't just about hearing words, it was about understanding, about being fully present. We've all experienced that at some point, but in today's fast-paced world, those moments can feel increasingly rare. But they don't have to be. What if you could bring that level of listening into every conversation? What if, instead of rushing to make your point, you paused and truly heard what the other person was saying? What might you discover? What new insights, new perspectives might you unlock? Listening isn't just a passive act, it's an active, intentional practice. And when we master it, we open ourselves up to deeper relationships, greater understanding, and even new opportunities. So, the question is, how can you become a better listener? How can you unlock the wisdom that comes from truly hearing others and yourself? What perspectives might you gain if you embrace the art of listening in your daily life? Could it be that the key to growth and understanding has been with you all along, just waiting to be unlocked? As we come to the end of this journey, remember that clarity in life isn't about adding more to your plate. It's about removing the unnecessary and focusing on what truly matters. By embracing stillness, questioning your beliefs, and mastering the art of control, you are already taking the first steps toward thinking more clearly and living with purpose. The path isn't always easy, but it's in these moments of reflection that we find our true strength and direction. If you've watched this far, drop 100 in the comments, because it shows that you're part of the rare 0.01% who commit to finishing what they start. And if you're serious about transforming your life, be sure to join our community by subscribing to the channel. Together, we can continue growing, learning, and mastering the art of clear thinking.